of the world's greatest songs weren't simply the result of flashes of inspiration, but instead crafted from a hidden formula, one that blended simplicity, innovation, and unforgettable performance in ways no one had imagined before. The Beatles, four young men from Liverpool, became a global phenomenon not by accident, but through a magical recipe that changed music forever. Let's journey into the heart of the Beatles' enchanting formula and discover the ingredients that made their music so irresistible. At first glance, the Beatles are often remembered for their charm, their wit, and their energetic presence. But look deeper, and you'll find a mastery of music that goes beyond stage antics. Their songs seem simple, catchy melodies, familiar chords, lyrics that are easy to sing along with. But beneath the surface lies a world of complexity, crafted through thoughtful structures, intricate harmonies, and groundbreaking orchestration. It's this duality, the accessible surface and the rich inner world, that forms the foundation of their magic. One of the Beatles' greatest secrets was their ability to balance simplicity with sophistication. Many of their classic songs, like Let It Be, hinge on basic chord progressions, such as the I-4, a staple in popular music. This choice made their music instantly familiar, inviting listeners in. But listen closer. The Beatles would subtly shift to relative minors, borrow chords from distant keys, and weave unexpected modulations throughout their songs. These small musical twists added layers of emotion and intrigue, transforming simple pop tunes into works of art that could be endlessly explored. Consider Yesterday, a song whose melody feels as if it's been floating in the air for centuries. It's hauntingly familiar, yet achingly poignant. What makes it so moving isn't just the words or the tune, but the harmonic progression beneath, the way the chords shift with understated elegance, creating a sense of longing that touches anyone who listens. The Beatles understood that emotion in music often comes from the spaces between the notes, the gentle push and pull of harmony and melody. Contrast that with A Day in the Life, a masterpiece that doesn't just play with chords, it plays with the very structure of songwriting. Two distinct sections, one introspective and dreamlike from John Lennon, the other lively and playful from Paul McCartney, collide in a sonic tapestry. The orchestral crescendo that bridges these worlds is daring, chaotic, and completely original, breaking all the rules of pop music. Here, the Beatles weren't just writing songs, they were reinventing what a song could be. Melody was another powerful tool in their arsenal. The Beatles crafted melodic lines that felt like natural extensions of human speech, intuitive, memorable, and easy to sing. Hey Jude is a perfect example. Its melody climbs and falls in patterns so natural that listeners find themselves humming along after just one hearing. These melodies stick in our minds not because they are simple, but because they flow with the rhythms of everyday life. Rhythm, too, was a field of innovation. While most pop songs of the era stuck to steady 4/4 beats, the Beatles weren't afraid to experiment. In Happiness is a Warm Gun, for instance, time signatures shift unexpectedly, creating a mosaic of grooves that somehow coalesce into a coherent whole. This rhythmic adventurousness kept their music fresh and unpredictable, challenging listeners while still welcoming them in. Texture was another area where the Beatles pushed boundaries. Few bands before them dared to blend such varied sounds, string quartets, Indian sitars, tape loops, into rock music. Yet the Beatles did in songs like Eleanor Rigby, with its stark string arrangement, Norwegian Wood, which introduced the sitar to the pop landscape, and the experimental soundscapes of Revolver. They turned the recording studio itself into an instrument, layering sounds and effects to create new worlds for every song. Performance elevated all these choices to another level. Early in their career, the Beatles' live shows were electric. At the legendary Shea Stadium concert in 1965, their music was nearly drowned out by the screams of adoring fans, yet their charisma and energy carried the night. Their ability to connect with audiences, to make every person feel part of the experience, was essential to their rise. After 1966, when they stopped touring, the Beatles didn't abandon performance. They reinvented it. Their stage became the recording studio, and albums like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band transformed music itself into a theatrical experience. This album wasn't just a collection of songs, but a journey, a story pressed onto vinyl, inviting listeners to enter a vivid new world. Each member brought a unique flavor to the mix. John Lennon's introspective lyrics and daring musical ideas, Paul McCartney's melodic optimism and pop sensibility, George Harrison's spiritual explorations and subtle guitar work, Ringo Starr's steady rhythmic backbone and understated charm. The Beatles' formula wasn't the genius of one. It was the dynamic conversation of four distinct voices, each challenging and inspiring the others. Their approach to harmony deserves special attention. In songs like Because, the Beatles layered vocal harmonies that rival those of classical choral works, yet remained rooted in the accessibility of pop. They blurred the line between popular and high art, showing that beauty and complexity could exist side by side. Even their mistakes became innovations. The reversed tapes in Tomorrow Never Knows, the accidental feedback at the start of I Feel Fine. These happy accidents led the way to new sounds and styles. The Beatles weren't afraid to push boundaries, to embrace the unexpected, and to make the studio a playground for discovery. What's remarkable is how they remained accessible throughout. Anyone could pick up a guitar and play Love Me Do, yet beneath its simplicity lies a roadmap for advanced musical analysis. The Beatles proved that music could be both democratic and profound, open to all, yet endlessly rewarding for those who dig deeper. The Beatles' formula was never a fixed recipe, but an evolving process. From their raw rock and roll beginnings to their psychedelic explorations, they constantly reinvented themselves. The world never grew tired of their voice because they never stopped changing, never stopped challenging their own boundaries. This reinvention went beyond music. It was cultural. The Beatles embodied the optimism and turbulence of the 1960s, becoming symbols of change. Their music resonated not just because of the notes and melodies, but because it reflected the identity and spirit of a generation in transition. Their genius also lay in contrast, light against dark, joy against melancholy. While My Guitar Gently Weeps is a perfect example. George Harrison created a song that feels both intimate and universal, a cry and a comfort at once. The Beatles understood that music, like life, is full of contradictions, and they made those contradictions sing. The Beatles challenged their listeners but never pushed them away. They invited us into a game. Enjoy the catchy tunes, and if you're curious, look closer to uncover hidden layers. Their songs work on many levels, simple enough for a casual fan, complex enough for a scholar, rich enough for a lifetime of exploration. That is why the Beatles endure. Their magic isn't just nostalgia, it's the ongoing challenge and invitation that their songs offer. Musicians, scholars, and fans still puzzle over their choices, still find new meaning in old tunes. The formula, whatever it was, continues to work. Understanding their music is like unlocking a treasure chest. Each chord progression, each lyrical twist, each production choice reveals a new gem. The Beatles' catalog isn't just history. It's an endless discovery, a musical journey that never truly ends. Perhaps that's the true magic. The Beatles didn't just leave us songs, but puzzles, musical riddles disguised as pop hits, daring us to listen closer again and again. Their enchanting formula is alive every time we press play. So, here's a challenge for you. Share this journey with friends and see if they can spot patterns in Beatles songs that you might have missed. Do you hear the contrasts, the hidden harmonies, or something entirely new? Let your thoughts and questions spark conversation, and together keep exploring the secrets of the Beatles' timeless magic. After all, every listen is another step into wonder, and who knows what you'll discover next.